Conversations powered by Just Talk and Lisa Listen. And tell us a little story about you, please. Just quick.
Quick.
Yes.
Well, we're here today to give our listeners and people that may be watching some really cool content.
Why don't we do something different and not give them content?
What do you want to give them, Jess?
Let's give them, yes. Maestro, Director Scott, play the music, please. There it is. He is so, this Scott, he's so brilliant. And I don't care what Dickie Phelps or whatever, what's the guy's name?
Will Edwards.
Whatever he calls himself.
Says about your accents that you can't seem
Correct.
to even
I can
do
bloody
at
do
all.
accents well, and I have no problem with them. So what I say is we give the audience an experience. Let's give them an experience.
I'm all in.
Okay.
Where do you want to start with that
I want to start with
experience?
them knowing a bit about you. So what do you do for the company so they know?
I am VP of Sales and Marketing for Just Talk.
Okay.
Success coach, where I empower and inspire women to live their life at their highest vision, and podcaster extraordinaire.
That sounds like an elevator speech, but I get a feeling that you live into that as well.
Well, I didn't mean for it to sound so canned. I wanted it to be, kinda
Natural.
like groovy. And
But it's all true, though, right?
Yes.
Fair enough. And I am.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard that.
Are you hearing voices in your
I
head?
am here. I see.
I didn't hear anything.
I see dead people. I
What
see
is
dead
going-
people. I feel like that Bruce Willis movie and that little kid.
What is going on with
I
you?
see dead people. Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't. I made that up. But I do see people, though. So professional speaker, success coach, keynotes, workshops, training, that sort of thing.
Author?
Definitely
Best-selling author?
You have sold quite a number of copies of How You Lead Them Feeling. And also podcaster, which is what we're here for here today.
Let's get this party started.
Let's
dude.
start it. Here, how about the topic? Can I announce the topic?
Please do. Please
here it
do.
is. Triple your understanding about culture in business. Triple your understanding about culture and business. That is the topic.
Wow.
We're going to hit them hard with some research that we've done and also some ad lib comments and so forth about different places you've worked or places I've worked or places we've served where others are working.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Why don't we lay out some of that research? What are your thoughts?
Well, some of the research by Tim Stevens, he says 12 signs your company has an enviable workplace culture. Use these signs to build a healthy company culture, one employee at a time.
Give me one. I like the one employee at a time. That's because, a lot of times people that are maybe listening or viewing this podcast, they think it all has to happen all at once or all in a big fold, but it really is one person at a time.
Well, just like how can you focus and multitask on several things? You can't be good at everything. You need to focus on that one thing.
Yeah, finding your niche, finding what that looks like, and becoming a master or
And
mastering that niche.
Solving that problem. Have a solution to solve that problem.
Solving that problem that people are looking to have resolved for them. So what's the number one?
Number one, people are waiting in line to join your team. How do you feel about that?
I love that. When I hear that people are waiting in line to join your team, that says that you've got a culture inside of there that's infectious, that's vibrant, that's highly charged, that's in a positive way, that there are like-minded individuals and or people that have opinions, and those opinions are allowed to be expressed for the betterment either of the internal or external customers that they serve.
And it's a safe place. They feel comfortable. The energy in the room is like infectious. You want to be with it. It's charismatic.
It's true. When I hear that, I think of quite frankly, I think of a few companies, but the company that's come top of mind to me is Apple. I believe Apple has done that quite well over the years. I'm not sure exactly where they're moving because things do change, but right now I think of Apple and I think of a cool cat by the name of Tim. Tim is the manager of the Apple store at Summerlin, and this man gets it. He's tuned in. He's clued in. He's got a smooth about. He's got what I call
Je ne sais quoi.
It's a je ne sais quoi.
Swagger.
He's got swagger. He's got je ne sais quoi. He's got another thing. He's got this thing that he actually, I believe his eyes actually are blue. Not that they have to be. And this cat comes from Houston originally, and he's a blue-eyed soul brother. He gets it, even though looking at his carcass, you would never know that he had that much range. But when you listen to him, he does. And I believe he does that with his team over there at Apple. I mean, it's at many of the other Apple stores too, but that one in question is the one I'm thinking about.
Much like Zappos, Tony Hsieh is known for all of the happiness factor.
Exactly.
Or delivering happiness.
Exactly. Listen to that. That is a smooth operator right there, right?
There's Scott again.
You know what, Scott? Director Scott, you got to keep that smooth operator going. Keep that on standby. We're going to need that one again. That's a good one, right?
All-time favorite.
It is. I love the sound. I listened to it. That was good.
In fact, you know what? I am going to get Tony Hsieh on this podcast.
You're going to do your diligent most best to get Tony Hsieh sitting right here front and center.
So he can talk about company
at the
culture.
Vegas Video Network talking about culture.
Done.
I love it. So the first one, let's repeat that again.
People are waiting in line to join your team.
Like an Apple, like we said. What's the next one?
Turnover is low.
When the turnover is low at an organization, that tells you that people want to what?
Stay and work there.
Exactly.
And it's not all about
there.
the money. It's not all about the money. As long as they're happy and you got the right people, they want to stay.
Happy in that you are serving their needs as they're serving your needs.
Exactly.
Very, very good one. That's another good one.
And number 3, top leaders are not insecure about other leaders succeeding. Oh, man, is that a big one?
That is a really big one. And I believe, in all due respect to leaders, many leaders aren't taught how to lead until they get in that position.
No, and not even then.
Well, and they can come with some unique qualities because not all leaders are the same. Some leaders come with a very natural ability. Some leaders come with a different learned series of processes through whatever educational or personal or professional development means that they've chosen. Some leaders come with a great deal of influence or a great mentorship. We don't know. Some come with none of that.
Right.
But the thing that a lot of leaders have difficulty over is what John Maxwell talks about, 360 leadership, where you lead all the way around, where you lead down, sideways, and up. And that is really cool. So the leaders that come with what you say is, how did you say that?
Top leaders are not insecure about other leaders succeeding. In fact, they encourage it.
Which means they don't see themselves as competitors with another leader. They see themselves as pulling one another up to increase the quality of the brand, of the organization, of the culture, of the vision, that sort of thing. So, I believe when leaders bring that to the table, anything is possible.
And is there any company that you can think of out there that fits that to the T?
You know, I can't say that I've experienced it firsthand. I can say that I've seen it on occasions, like you said, Tony's at Zappos.
Yes.
Tony Hsieh at Zappos. I don't know where they stand today, and I know they're evolving and changing, but
as everyone does.
I know the early stages of Zappos, he brought a lot of that to the table, and it came with a great empowerment. I know that when I think of an Apple, and I'll probably say that more than once, an Apple computers, when Steve was alive, it was a different environment than even as it is now. But I believe that innovation and that the rebel was part of their. They embraced people that could speak out and speak up, that had something relevant to say.
I know that I was lucky enough to work for one of those companies.
What company is that?
For 6 years.
Can you say?
No, because they're no longer in business.
Okay, but you had a company in the past.
In fact, she was my mentor. She's been my mentor from the time I stepped foot in Nevada, and to this day is still my mentor.
What did you like best about that experience?
That she believed in my ability to do what I did and let me run and do what I do best. And I wasn't micromanaged. There was no second guessing what I did. She just let me run and do what I did. And I went from a C player to an A player because of the way she let me roll.
And I would say that I actually had some exposure to that person as well.
Yes, you did.
And do we want to hold her name because she didn't give us permission to say it?
Probably better to be safe
with
that.
Okay, so then what I'll say then is that leader that you're talking about had that ability across the brand.
Yes.
She gave that to everyone that she believed in. And she put her whole weight behind that, and she gave you the autonomy to do what was necessary to close the sale, as long as it was legal.
Not just me, everyone in that entire television station was given the ability to do what they do best and not micromanaged.
And I earned the opportunity to coach everyone from the managing partner all the way down through the sales team, and I could see exactly what you're saying from an outside-inside perspective. It was there.
Yep.
She was solid as a rock. But I wonder if Scott has that tune, solid as a rock. He can't do it. It's too fast. It's too fast. But he liked it. I know Scott, he's listening.
What about you? Did you ever work in an environment like the one I'm discussing?
You know, I can't say that I was fortunate enough to do that. Most of the environments that I worked in were tumultuous. They were challenging. It was a lot of competition, one against the other. I never saw myself in competition with any of my peers or my bosses, but I know a lot of times that energy came back to me. That was thrust upon me. I never embraced it or accepted it.
Yeah.
I felt that we were all in business together, all for the same purpose, all under the same guise. And my biggest competition, my biggest competitor was myself.
I knew you were
my
going to say
personal
that.
best.
How well do I know you?
So I always saw it that way.
Cool.
But let's roll with the next one, the third one.
Okay, gossip is not tolerated.
That is a big deal. Talk to me. You tell me.
Or drama. How about drama?
Gossip and drama can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
In fact, one can create the other. I have some thoughts about that I can share, but I want to hear, what are your thoughts about gossip first?
First of all, it's an energy drain, a complete energy drain. And speaking at this company that I was telling you about, we moved locations, and I no longer had an office but a cubicle.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, because I was a senior executive, would sit in the chair in that cubicle and want advice and advice and advice. And it was just more than advice. They would come drop their shit.
It was a bunch of chatter and talk about this and that and this and that.
And that stuff just brings you down, you know? I know that me, because I hate conflict, I would sit there and listen to it instead of saying, listen, I have work to do. So it really ended up draining my energy by allowing it in.
And the problem with that is that you sat there and listened to it. What you didn't know at the time, and I'm not rolling you under the bus.
It's okay.
But by listening to, I'm going to clear my throat. I'm going. Yes. Before I say this,
before I learn the language,
I am going to clear my throat, and I'm going to talk into this camera because I want the audience that's watching to see this and hear this as I talk to both you and the audience. Is that by listening to the gossip, you are participating in the gossip. It was unwilling, because even to listen to it is still gossip.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say to you, and I'm not going to say that many better than you at this, but what I learned early on in life is I wasn't even going to listen to it. You know, I wasn't going to listen to it because I wasn't going to be a party to it. So I would find these exquisite exit strategies to get me out of conversation. When the gossip started is when I would exit. Mm. Number one, for me, I didn't want to waste my time with it, and I wanted to use that time to be productive for the company. But a lot of people don't realize just listening to the gossip, then you're participating in it because you're allowing that other person to let it go on and on and on. So I would shut it out. So as an example of that is when someone would approach me and they would start a chatter or a gossip about a situation that happened at work that involved another person, I would say to them quite quickly, I said, you know what, before you go on, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before you go on, let me say this. I would love for whatever you're going to share with me, go and share that with Bob and come back and tell me what they say.
Okay.
You follow?
And
so what did I just do?
Well, they would buy into that?
Yeah. So what did I just do?
Well, you cut it, but did they actually leave and honor that?
Every single time, because it was done with enthusiasm, it was done with earnest, it was done with authenticity, and quite frankly, I was saying, I don't want to hear it. The person that wants to hear it or needs to hear it, whether they want it or not, is the person that you're talking about. Go and talk to that person about what you want to talk to me about, and let me know what they say. Okay,
as a backup, if that didn't work, and they were in a cubicle in your office,
yes,
and they didn't get the hint, would you get up out of your chair and just say, you know, I've got an errand to run, I have to leave?
Nope. You know what? That's a good point. No, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a decoy. No decoy. What I want to build in is that I am not buying into the gossip. You need to do something about it. And I am not the person to do something about it because your issue is not with me. And now if you're sharing with me to find the right words and the verbiage and the logic behind the conversation, I'm willing to help that. But if you think you're going to use me as a backdrop to drop this stuff off, drop your garbage off at my door, and then leave while I'm stuck with your garbage, I'm not playing that game.
So I just want to say, if there's any listeners or viewers out there right now, if you need help with a situation like that, that is one of the sweet spots that we...
Give me a bump.
This guy here... Ooh.
That's why you're in charge of sales and marketing.
Well, hello. I just had to pull
and
a little bit
of that out.
And you know what?
Here's something I'll say to you. Thank you for that. Everything rises and falls in language.
Yes.
The language that you use, the language that you here, that little alter ego that sits on your shoulder, inner critic, and the toxic language that you allow in. Put a stop to it.
Yeah.
So let's keep rolling.
Okay. So number 5, lateral leadership is outstanding. And what it says here is leading people below you is easy. That is, it's easy compared to leading people next to you whom you have no authority. A great culture sees people coming alongside their peers to encourage or occasionally correct and redirect.
I believe that goes back to John Maxwell's 360 leadership campaign. Mm-hmm. I believe when you trust in that process to lead down the people below you that report up to you, lead sideways your peers, and to lead upwards your people. I believe that what people forget, what people don't remember, and I don't want to test you, I'm going to just say it. I know I don't want to test you.
Do I look
no,
like
I just
like
no.
a deer in the headlight or something?
Not yet. I don't. So, oh, don't do it. No, I want to say that what people don't realize in corporate America or in small companies or when you work for someone else, there is a number one client that you must serve, and a lot of people think that that client is outside the operation. And I'm telling you, the
boss.
number one client that you serve is your boss.
Yes.
Because if you don't get it right there, they get to ask you to do what?
Leave.
Bye-bye. Leave the building.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be ya. Exactly. So people don't get that. So understand that your number one client is your superior, and understand what they want, they need for themselves, for the department, for the organization, and deliver at least that, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And so to learn to lead sideways is a very simple art. Understand who you're serving, internal and external clients.
Yep.
That's what I would say to that.
Okay, team members are energized by the mission. You hear leaders at all levels of the organization talking about the mission. It gives them energy, and they're constantly thinking of ways to get there.
I like that. That stems from a clear vision that at the top of the organization that they present, and they funnel that down.
How many times does that happen on?
You know, I believe in some organizations it can start out that way, but then we sort of get sidetracked by the challenges of doing business and the curveballs that are thrown to us and or the defeats that happen along the way. But I believe when you have a crystallized, solid vision that's well thought out, that's connected to you, your purpose, your best gifts and talents, whatever that business is, I believe you have a better way of getting at that. And I think when you champion that vision down through the organization, I think you have an opportunity to do exactly what this point is existing.
And the one that comes to mind whose mission we all know is FedEx, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
Exactly. That's clear.
You know
Very
what I mean?
simple, yes.
So the more succinct and simple you keep it,
yes,
the more relevant it is to stick.
Exactly. GE, we bring good things to
life.
Exactly. Very simple, very easy. There's a number of them that have, and we say those things like they're easy to roll off our tongues, but someone spent a lot of time figuring out what that mission or that vision is for those
simplicity.
Companies. But when you do that and you start to, when you walk the talk that's connected to the vision, that's when it happens.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just a job. People go to the movies, they hang out at one another's homes, and sometimes even vacation together. This doesn't mean that they don't have other friends, but they really enjoy the company of the people they work with.
Yeah, I would say that when you're involved in an organization, no matter whether it's small or large, that you build relationships, build connecting relationships with those people that you work with. It doesn't have to be, like in other words, you can have work friends and outside friends as well. But do things with those people that continue to contribute to that connection. I always do what I like to call helping people with their homework. Helping people with the things that they find difficult. If I have an ease or a smoothness about that, I want to share that with my team members, because why should I let them struggle if it's something I can help them with and they can be improved? And then do that by having conversation outside of the workplace, finding out what people like, finding out what they're into, finding out how to make a real connection and an engagement with those people.
And there were time and time again, there were ideas that I would share, and then the superior would make it their own, which I didn't care as long as it got implemented and help the company.
Right. No, that was good. I know that there were times you brought in some unique, innovative ideas and thoughts and concepts for the advertisement of things, and they would at some point look like their name was all over it. Right. It didn't matter as long as it helped the organization.
Yep.
So I like that. What's the next?
The bottom line. Okay. The team believes that they are more important than the task. What do you think about that?
So that's point number 8. The team believes that they're more important than the task. the team believes that they are more important than the task.
Yes.
In other words, don't let a task-oriented or a fundamental, rudimentary, must-do program have the say. Go for what's going to really bring the team together. Go for what's going to rise above you got the task in hand. You've got those objectives in hand. But what is it going to take to really make it happen? It's going to be the camaraderie, the connection, the shared vision, the mindstorming, the brainstorming, the road mapping, all of those things that will hit the task and go beyond that as well. That unity, that sense of synergy, that we're all in it together.
Get buy-in. You get buy-in. Hey, what do you think about this?
Ask for help.
And wow, that's a big one.
Absolutely.
Since that's something that you've been doing quite well this year.
For sure. But ask for help.
Yep.
Ask for support along the way. You can build. So when you ask people for their buy-in and their support, their help, that's going to help you with that and go beyond.
Well, it also lets them have engagement, let them feel involved, and that they have a voice and they're being heard.
Well said, and that they matter.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
What's number 9?
Communication is strong. From top to bottom, people communicate. The staff isn't surprised with information they didn't hear until it was announced at a Sunday service or came out in a new product brochure. It is communicated well in advance, with leaders even asking the staff to help find solutions.
So this was number 9. Is that people smiling, basically? Which one is that one?
Communication is strong. That was number 11.
Okay. So let's skip to number 11. Communication is strong. I think that goes back to my piece on everything rises and falls in language. Yeah. The power of communication is your best tool, no matter what your business is, internal communication and external communication.
Right. But if you don't feel safe saying something, then you start suppressing and suppressing and suppressing because you feel your voice isn't being heard, and then it starts getting very dysfunctional and uncomfortable.
It's true. It's true. I think what happens when there's a breakdown in communication, that's when everything goes to where in a handbasket.
HE double toothpicks.
I'm just. So with that being said, there are a couple that I want to add to this. Also, would be the fear of what's missing.
Yes.
Or fear of missing. When people are fearful of things, that brings up walls and puts up blocks and roadblocks, and the communication stops. Mm-hmm. You agree?
I do.
I think also there's a friendly nature that can be added to this whole thing, and it's when people are smiling. This is going to sound very simplistic. When people are smiling at one another when they pass in the hallway or through their going throughout their day, when you share a smile with someone, we're like for like creatures. When someone smiles at you, no matter what mood you're in, what do you typically do?
Well, I always smile back because it costs nothing and it turns the day around. We do have a chat question.
You do. Let's see it. Let's have it.
And my eyes from the last...
Bring it closer to you.
Hey, great content today. Let me chime in with my comments. I don't want to miss opportunities by not doing business with friends, but I tend to be challenged sometimes in this area. Any tips for clear communication when the lines get blurred?
I love it.
And this is Ruth.
And who is that?
Ruthie.
That's Ruth? That's Ruth? Okay.
It's Ruth.
Okay, Ruth. Ruth, let me say this really quickly because we've got about 5 minutes left in the podcast, but that's a brilliant observation and a brilliant question. I say establish what we call a pillar system. The clients that we work with, we find ourselves with the same dilemma all the time where the client has the dilemma and we help them with it. And we ask them to establish a pillar system. What I'm going to say to you now is something we typically charge for, but we're obviously not charging for because of a podcast. So we're going to give it away.
We want to give value in on this show because we want everyone.
We're going to give it away. So here it is.
Give it away
I'm going to
now.
ask you, Ruth, to establish a pillar. I want you to establish a pillar system. And think of it like this. You'll have a friendship pillar and you'll have a professional pillar. You might even have a partnership pillar. So there could be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 pillars. Never, ever let the pillars cross. So, and you don't have to direct any pillar. So when you have a friendship with someone, you manage that friendship and let that take its natural course, whatever it is. Whatever the rules, the guidelines, the implied thoughts on what you guys decide that friendship looks like, let that be on its own. When you have a professional pillar, you separate that by having conversation about the professional part that you live in and you leave that in that pillar. And when you're done with that pillar, you back off. Never let the pillars cross. There are people that we have 5 and 6 and 7 different pillars with, and we never let the pillars cross. And that's how you keep it all straight. Is think of your friendship as a pillar, the business relationship you have that you're their client as a pillar. They may also be your client. That's a separate pillar. You may have a partnership with them on another agreement. The partnership piece is a separate pillar. That's 4 separate pillars. Never let the pillars cross.
Yep.
As long as you respect the pillar concept, you will never blur the line. So, Ruth, that's really good. I hope you're listening to this. Write the stuff down. You need more, you reach out to us.
Or you can watch the rebroadcast.
Exactly.
Listen to it over and over and over till you get it.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to talk about number 10. Fear is missing. People don't fret if they say the wrong thing in front of the wrong person. There aren't hushed conversations because of the fear of what will happen if they are overheard. Employees in an organization with a great culture can walk into the boss's office with a concern and walk out knowing they were heard.
Fair enough. And I would say that's an ideal situation. I would say fear may run along a scale, a continuum where there's less or more of it.
Right.
I think on a lot of organizations, even if it's not spoken to, there's a lot of fear that perpetuates. But let's assume our goal is to remove the fear or reduce it dramatically. And so I totally agree with that. To be where they can create a safe place to tell the truth and not be worried about repercussions. I dealt with a case today with a situation where someone was very, very fearful about what they might need to communicate with their boss. And you know what I asked her to do?
What?
Check your gut. What does your instinct tell you? If your instinct is telling you that the situation needs more bandwidth, then you owe it as a fiduciary responsibility to the company, to your leader, and to yourself and the people below you to make that happen.
But what if you're too far goofy in the head that you're not in, your emotions aren't connected with your head,
simple.
heart, and gut?
Hire a coach.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There you go.
Another www.jesttalk.com.
For sure. If it's not an official coach like as in us, hire someone that's a trusted advisor that can tell you the truth.
There you go. Okay. Well,
we got 2 more, so you got to roll. 11.
Communication. We did 11. Change is welcome. Number 12. People aren't afraid of change. It's not that everyone likes change, but most have been through it so many times and have seen the leaders manage change with care and dignity, and they no longer dread it. Identifying the evidences of a great culture is all fine and good.
Most people are very... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Say it again.
No.
Most people are very afraid of change. Most people do not like change. Why do you think most people don't like change?
Because it's the fear of the unknown.
It's the fear of the unknown.
They want what's comfortable.
Exactly. And even if they're doing something that's bad, they likely won't change it because they don't know what it's going to be replaced by.
Right.
So hear this. This is really quickly. I'm going to read this. Change. I honor the inevitability of change. Life is a process of constant transformation, and I am learning to flow with what happens in my world. When I let go of my resistance to change, I find that often something better comes along. I ride change like a roller coaster, even with its ups and downs, knowing it all works out if I don't resist. The improvements that come with change are a welcome gift. Just because I accept change doesn't mean that I am destined to never have stability. On the contrary, my life is grounded and enduring. I got that from a meditation that I do daily from Dudley Everson. It's called Meditation Moment. And this is unbelievable. That's a great way to talk about change.
Well, speaking of change, let's change to our guests that are coming next week, which is Mark and Angel Chernoff. They're the authors of 1,000 plus little things happy, successful
Let me
people
hold that
do
book up.
differently. Well, did you just take that out of my hands?
I did. I'm sorry, but you said 1,000 little things that happy, people, successful people do differently. 1,000 plus.
Yes. Okay. So they will be our guests. So tune in next week because these guys are fabulous people. And if you want to get happy tips and be happy, this is the place you want to be. And speaking of happy and how do we want to leave people today?
I want to say that tripling the bandwidth of what you get in terms of creating an enriched culture happened today and at the hands of both ourselves and who was the author? Do we remember who it was from the beginning of the show? I'm so sorry to challenge you.
Tim Stevens.
Yes, and Tim Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you for what he's done for us because he has left us both and I hope our audience and our listeners feeling great.
Because after all, it's all about how you leave them feeling.
Yes, it is.